And boom, we're live. Welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. I'm joined by Paul Tierney. We're here for the match preview. Republic of Ireland against Scotland. Don't be feeling confused by the optimism in my voice. We are playing Scotland. We're coming into this game off the back of two 1-0 defeats. We're going into this one at the Viva Stadium. Um, Paul, how are you feeling going into it?
Not very hopeful, Paul. I've got to be honest with you. It's been a tough two games. I don't know which one was worse. Probably the Ukraine one because all of us were there. But yeah, not hopeful. But I don't know. Maybe the atmosphere being a tiny bit better. Not saying it was bad on Wednesday. Maybe there'd be a bit more of an atmosphere on Saturday. Maybe that might drive the lads on to do a bit better. And look, all we want is performances and doing the best they can. I know the players are tired. It's been a long season. A lot of them haven't played the full season or didn't end the season, but just need a better performance. That's it. And but not very optimistic so far. No.
Yeah, I think it's getting to the stage now where I think Stephen Kenny himself just wants to get this window out of the way, because just it's gone so horrendously bad at the start. Like coming out and saying that he wanted to win the group and stuff like that, and now the way it's gone with the two defeats against the two teams that we most likely felt like we were going to get a win against. I don't think we'd beat Ukraine's full strength team, but the fact that we lost against their second team basically, was a bit of an embarrassment because we largely had our best team at our disposal, and we just looked lost for ideas, and we just once we got past the halfway line we were totally devoid of ideas and direction of where we should go. And it's just it's a bit frustrating because maybe you think if we maybe have the extra man in midfield, and everyone keeps on going back to that, but when Ireland were doing well in this formation, nobody was saying anything about an extra midfielder. But the fact of the matter, I think, was Matt Doherty was in that position. I think you play to your strengths. I don't think this window we have played to our strengths, and maybe we're going to see this time around a freshness. He's spoken today at the press conference, said there was going to be a freshness, so it sounds like players are going to come in, new players. And I don't necessarily think that players like Jason Malumbi would be considered a second team type player like we were saying about the Ukraine team. I think Malumbi, if he came in and had a good game over these next two games, he could stake a claim to come in and replace Jeff Hendrick. I know that Jeff Hendrick and Josh Cullen on the UEFA site are both, if they get one more yellow, they miss the next match. So I wonder if that's going to come into his thinking as well. So there's these kind of things to consider. I'd say Festi Abuzelli, maybe Michael Obafemi could start as well. I think Jason Knight probably has to start. He was, again, very good the other night. Nathan Collins, he did the press conference today, so I assume he's going to start. Whether he's going to be captain or not, I don't know. So there's all these kind of things to kind of consider. Who would you like to see, Paul? Because obviously you're going to be at the game and stuff. Who would you like to see start that maybe hasn't started recently?
Well, I definitely think Festi deserves an opportunity. We saw he was highly praised by the Derby County fans this season, coming off the bench, starting games, and I know he's just got to move to Serie A, which is fantastic for him. With Malumbi, I tend to agree with you. I think there's a bit more energy about him, whereas I don't know what it is with Jeff Hendrick. I know he can be a scapegoat a lot of the time, but like he's just not playing well enough. Now he's doing enough to keep himself in the team, but he's just not playing well enough. And I mean, it's four games in quick succession. In midfield, you can't play four games in quick succession like that. Like I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see Jason Malumbi. I think Jason Knight should definitely stay in. I thought he was very good from the get go the other night, like yourself. And I mean, I don't know how else. Like, I mean, I'd like to see Obafemi get a run at it from the start. I think he deserves it. But look, yeah, in particular, Festi Abasella, I think he deserves an opportunity. He had a great season with Derby. He's just got a fantastic move to Italy. And I think all Irish fans want to see him really and see what he can do. He'd be great in that wing back position. No offense to Cyrus Christie, he had a great season, but I I think Festi is just a bit more mobile in that position and a bit more used to playing it. And yeah, I mean, I definitely want to see Festi anyway. And in terms of the midfield, I think Jeff Hendrick should drop out anyway. And I'm not saying I want him to drop out, but I think a change in that position would be a good
Tell
thing.
us how you really feel. Come on.
I've nothing against Jeff Hendrick. I think he's been a fantastic servant, but I just don't think he's played enough games, and he's just not done enough for me, to be honest. Like, you look at Jason Knight, he done more in half an hour than I feel Jeff has done in the last game, the last two games. So that's just it for me. But I'm not being harsh. I do like Jeff. It's just my opinion.
No, you expect to see more from him, I think is
Yeah,
you're trying to say, but maybe in a more roundabout way. But I think with Jason Knight, I think he plays further forward and he's just more dynamic and he's fearless. Whereas I think Hendrick is afraid of maybe making the wrong pass or the crowd gets on his back type thing. And I think it might be wise to just take him out, as you say. I will say his ball to Callum Robinson for the penalty shout was a great ball.
yeah,
But other than that, I don't remember him doing too much. He was just breaking up a lot of play. Now I do appreciate it's a tough slog, especially at the end of the season when he hasn't been playing all season as well. He was in and out with QPR towards the end, but I think you're looking at him to be your midfield player, where a lot of games are won and lost are in midfield, and when he's playing with a two in midfield, it doesn't help. And our wing backs weren't getting forward as much after about 20 minutes into the game. Before that, they were, but I think if you're looking at that, I'd say McLean will probably come in. I'd be surprised if he didn't. I'd like to see maybe Ryan Manning actually
yeah.
come in at least on the bench, because I felt as though against Lithuania he was one of our best players, and I think he helped win the ball back against Lithuania, and he had a good bit of skill and he ended up setting up an attack for us. Then that was the one where Troy Parrott actually scored from. So I don't think he actually has been deserved to be the one that's been dropped, but it's an opportunity for him. We know someone's going to have to come in at centre back there as well, probably Darragh O'Shea, I would say, which I'm not in any way worried. I know Darragh O'Shea will come in and he'll put in a performance similar to John Egan. He's reliable, and worst case scenario, Darragh Lenihan plays, who again has come off the back for a really good season with Blackburn. So all in all, these players that are coming in, like, we can say that they're not up to scratch or they're not up to standard, but the reality is they're all coming in off the back of actually playing, but for some reason they haven't been able to get into this Ireland team for the last two games. But when you look at the players coming in, it's not like we're totally weakened by players coming in. In fact, we're probably stronger. I think Obafemi from the start makes us maybe stronger. Maybe dropping Ogbene because he just hasn't been at the races the last two games. Maybe play CJ Hamilton. Maybe play Malumbi. So I think freshening the team might actually serve us well. The more I'm thinking about it as I'm going, like even before this video, I was thinking, oh, I really don't see a way. But now they're kind of thinking about these players that are coming in. Yeah, and they're not world beaters, I know, but I think they're players that are coming in, they have to prove themselves and prove that they should be in the team going forward. Jason Malumbi should be very eager to try and take Jeff Hendrick's shirt, because I think Cullen will have to play, because I don't see Howard. I'd be surprised if Howard comes in for Cullen, I really would, but
Yeah.
we'll wait and see for that. But I think Malumbi needs to play for energy in the midfield, and it'll be interesting to see, does he stick with the back three again? And if he does he go with Festi this time around, just to see what he's like? I think Cyrus is okay, but okay is not what we're looking for. We're looking for players to come through now and make an impact. And okay, as I say, I don't think that quite cuts it right now against the Scots.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what you say about Scotland as well is they've got maybe a slight bit more quality in midfield as well. You think Callum McGregor can put the ball through. Even the strikers, they just get more goals, really, don't they? That's it. They're just a bit more.
Well, they've got McGinn in midfield. They've got Billy
Again as
Gilmore in
well.
midfield.
Yeah.
So apparently, I was speaking with John from the Scottish Football Forums podcast last night, and he said when the three of them have played in midfield together, they've been unbeaten. So there you go. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just kind of reminding you of their midfield compared to ours.
Yeah, exactly. And I think saw Callum McGregor score against Ukraine as well. So, and we know with Celtic he's well capable of grabbing a goal or two. Yeah, I mean, I think with us, because of the lack of cutting edge that sometimes we have in midfield, it's better to put energy in and kind of work for it and win the ball high up and get at them from there. I think that'll work great on Saturday. I think the atmosphere will be very good tomorrow as well. I think, and that's credit to the Scots as well. I'm sure they'll bring a big crowd too. But yeah, we'd be better off with energy in there. Malumbi, Josh Cullen, Jason Knight, I think that would work very well. You mentioned McLean coming in. Again, it's like Hendrick, nothing against McLean, but he's had a better season than Hendrick. But I think, like, we want to see something new. Like, okay, he's experienced, he does the job. but he's not really a left wing back. Like he's better on the wing. And if we're playing in the formation we are, Manning would suit that better because he plays that position. Just give him an opportunity, see how it goes. If it's not working for the first half, whip him off. It's only a nation, but I shouldn't say it's only a Nations League game, but I mean, like it's not a qualifier, you know. I mean, it's a
Yeah, well,
Nations League game.
we're at no loss now, you know, with the two games.
Yeah,
So yeah, I know
exactly.
what you mean.
We've got nothing. We've got nothing to lose tomorrow. The fact that we haven't won a game in this is insane. I think that's in the back of their minds as well. Maybe they're not taking it as seriously because of that. I don't know. I'm not going to claim that, but you see it with a few teams in this competition as well. It's very run down sort of competition. I don't know what it is, but for me anyway, I'm going on a tangent here. More energy in the midfield will work out better for us because we just are lacking that tiny bit of quality at times. Get the ball up to the strikers as fast as we can, win it high, and Manning in at left wing back because we've seen McLean there. Okay, he does the job, but he's better off on the wing. So I think Manning deserves an opportunity. Abasele deserves an opportunity, and I think it'd work very well because they want to keep those positions.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with you there. I think we need to be careful as well of putting too many young players in. But if he mixes it up, like I don't see why Shane Duffy can't play in there. Then Callum Robinson as well. Oh, Paul's gone. He's back again. I think his internet's just dropped there. There you go. He's back.
Like,
I was just saying there about Callum Robinson. Like he's seen as an experienced player now, as well. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry,
Yeah.
just checking. So yeah, he's seen as an experienced player now, and if you just kind of have two, like the spine of the team maybe being a bit experienced, and then you have younger players around, like Malumbi. I'm not saying he's experienced, but like you could put him in there, and if you had maybe McLean left wing back, and you had Duffy in there, and Robinson, then there's a kind of a few there. I know you said you didn't want to have McLean maybe starting, but I think the likelihood is he probably will, because whenever Stephen Kenny's looking for a reaction from the team, he generally goes with McLean in the team, which I understand. So look, I wouldn't be against it if it meant that other players around the team were kind of brought in then in that sense, whereas younger players were kind of brought in. Oh, but Femi could start, because he's shown he's not afraid. Like I actually think, look at Nathan Collins, weirdly as an experienced player, just because the way he plays. Not that he is experienced, but he plays with like almost like we said about Dara O'Shea. Like he looks like he's been playing international football his whole career. Doesn't look phased. You know, the two of them either side of Duffy, I'd be happy with in the back three if that's what he's going to go with, and then, you know, let the younger lads kind of get at the team. We're not going to be lack for pace there with O'Shea, Duffy, and Collins there. Collins shows he has the pace to keep up with players there the other night against Ukraine. So and he was probably the best defender on the pitch in my opinion. So I don't see why you back three with that and then kind of let the other players off the shackles. And if you're going to play with holding midfields and you have Malumbi kind of bouncing around there, then it doesn't really look as bad or sound as bad to me. But you know, we have to be careful of them. Andy Robertson, obviously on the left hand side, that might come into Stephen Kenny's thinking of how we're going to defend him. And if Festi's not the best defensively, then that could come into the equation as well. So we've got to think of that too. And especially because they've been going with wing backs. I think Billy Gilmore was rested, they said, in the last game against Armenia, and so was Grant Handy. So the likelihood of them coming in is quite high. So we got to think of that as well. They're obviously coming in after beating Armenia at home 2-0, so they'll be coming in full of confidence despite the Ukraine loss. So I think this is going to probably be one of the toughest games, probably actually the toughest games we've had so far in this group, even though I know we've lost the first two, but I actually think like this one's going to be the biggest test.
Yeah, definitely. I think they've done well in the two Nations Leagues campaigns that they've had as well, so they'll be right up for it. And they just take it a tiny bit more. They've just taken it on a lot more than we have, maybe to say. You know, I don't want to say we haven't taken it seriously. It's just it's kind of been a bit flat all the Nations League games, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I think it's an important game. There'll be a cracking atmosphere as well, no doubt. Hopefully, not many Celtic jerseys on the Ireland side. That's one thing that winds me up in the Aviva. And we're playing Scotland today, tomorrow. Celtic are a Scottish team. That winds me. I just want to get that in. It wound me up the other night. I never understand it when Ireland are playing, but we move. Yeah, it's going to be an important game. Listen, Andy Robertson's going to be tough to stop. They are missing. I know Kieran Tierney usually plays in the back three for them as well, so that's another miss. Look, it's I don't know. I mean, it's important to get a result tomorrow. I think if we end up getting beaten by a couple of goals, I mean, I think things will start to turn really badly. I think they are already, unfortunately, just from the general gist of coming out of the ground the other night. And look, we need a performance, we need a result, and look, I'm looking forward to going. I probably won't be looking forward to the match because I'm nervous, but look, it's it's a hard one. I don't really know what to say. I'm kind of still not over losing to Armenia, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that's what the stage we're at, you know, because the games are coming so thick and fast. Like I've said it already, like there's not, I don't think see the point in kind of going in and talking about the manager and losing his job right now till the end of the 4 games, and
Yeah.
then like really assess it, because the games are coming so thick and fast that if you get caught up in that, then before you know it, the games are won and lost. If we win the next 2 games, then people aren't talking about it. That's the reality of it. So look, it hasn't been good. It has to change. It has to be better. We all know that. And well, hopefully we can put this to bed. And it'd be mad if we win the next 2 games, but like there's every hope that that could happen. But it's a big hope. It's not a guarantee. It's a huge hope that we'll go out and put in a performance that's worthy of winning a game. Um, Someone's in the comments there. I don't know if he's talking to me or you. He said, "Hey Paul, nice to see you. I always see you at the local shop. I've lost confidence with Kenny. I don't think he's good enough manager. He was never that good at top level, but I respect other opinions." This is Kenny right now has a worse record than Steve Staunton, so that's why I've lost confidence with Kenny. Lost confidence with him really. I think that's what he's trying to say. Hi James, or I don't know if he's talking to you, but anyway,
Hey, James.
yeah. Look, it's at that point, as I say, I don't want to get in and get hell bent on the manager, because ultimately at the end of the day, the players have to kick the ball and the players have to score the goals. We need to create chances as well, and that style of play maybe needs to change for us to do better and create more chances. But I'm looking at it and going, you know, with players like Obafemi and stuff like that from the start, it'd be interesting to see just something different, because we're quite predictable with the way he plays with Ogbene, Knight, and Robinson, and I'm sure that's been studied now by opposition analysts. They've gone, "Oh, this is the way we play." Blah blah blah. They tried to press. Boom! If you cut out the midfield, they don't have many options, and they're cut right open. So I think if we know that, and we go to the matches, I'm sure that they've an analyst who watches the games just to do that. Do you know what I mean? So I imagine we wouldn't be that hard to play against if you actually looked at us, especially if we're playing against teams that we have to dominate possession like Armenia. That's why we weren't good there. But I think this is a game where we're probably going to have to sit in and try and counter attack.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And if we can try and do that and try and get an early goal, I think if we get an early goal, I think that could then invite the Scots onto us, and then we could play our counter attacking football like we were back a while back. But now at the moment, it's gone back to the kind of old ways it was this time last year before the Andorra game, where we just didn't look like we had any ideas, and we looked a bit lost going forward. But I'm hoping now that if we can get a win tomorrow, that could completely change things again. But we need to get this way of looking at it, is that, oh, we lose a game, manager has to be sacked. If he wins the next 2, he doesn't. But to be fair, if he does lose the next 2, then questions need to be asked of, is this really working? And if you're looking at it in terms of competitive games, it's not really. So tomorrow and over the weekend, that's what it's going to really depend on, I think. And if we can show and look, there's still 2 games, but I think these are 2 games that really kind of hinder things. But then again, you're looking, can the FAI, can they afford to get rid of him? So there's all these kind of equations. I think what we have to do is just stick with the football for now, and there's 2 games to be played. We're going to this game tomorrow low on confidence, but if we can freshen things up, as I said, players are there looking like they want to freshen things up in the team. But I think we're looking at it, we've played in the games played against Scotland head to head, we've won 4, they've won 4, they've drawn 3. So tomorrow it'll be whoever wins will obviously take over, and then whoever draws it means it'll be 4 apiece in everything, wins, draws, and wins for them. So hopefully we can get a win. I don't think like they are a team that we should be scared of. I think we'll know what it'll be like. It'll be like a derby game. and I'm sure there'll be a lot of tackles flying in and stuff like that. But we played against Wales when we were probably at our worst, and we done well against them at home. So I think with the Aviva there, as you say, there'll be a lot of people coming up from all over the country and flying over. I think someone said in the comments there, he's heading up tomorrow. He says, John Muckian it was, he says, I hope we press like Belgium. Fresh legs need to replace the whole front three and the two midfield. We are well suited to play against them. So yeah, people coming from all over. So safe travels to all them coming up. And that, but I suppose just lastly to finish on, Paul, your prediction in terms of score prediction.
I'm gonna go 1-1. I don't know. I said it the other day as well. I always feel like we're going to draw at home. I always think we'll get something. And if you think about Wednesday, as bad as it was, we nearly did get something as well. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go 1-1. I think we'll take the lead through. Probably it'll be a direct enough goal. Probably Shane Duffy as usual because he's probably the greatest threat we have a lot of the time. And then I think they'll equalise through. I don't know who's going to play for them. Maybe Lyndon Dykes, a similar sort of goal from a corner, from a set piece, something like that. And yeah, 1-1 for me. I think that would be a good result. The main thing is not to lose. It'd be great to get a win, but the main thing is not to lose and go into Ukraine away on Tuesday, finish off this general season as a whole on a high.
Yeah, well, I hope that I'd say the players at this stage just want to get the season out of the way. I've gone for 1-1 as well. Shane Duffy to score actually on the opposition preview, so I'm going to stick with that. I would love to see. He's gone again. I was going to just say, no, you're alright. I was just going to say I'd love to see us win the game, but I just don't. Someone just said there before we go, Graham Caldwell, I think he's a Scottish fan. He just says, great point from Paul Tierney. I firmly believe the Nations League is a great opportunity to qualify for a tournament. That's why Scotland have put more into it. Hence why we got to the last Euros. Yeah, so there you go. That's and someone else, that was James talking to you. He said to Paul, I was to say how he's a proper gent, and his opinions are always good on football. Also love the channel. It's insightful and it's like talking in the pub about a game, if you get me. Thanks, James. I suppose you should say thanks to him. Yeah.
Thanks, James.
Yeah, so yeah, 1-1 we've both gone with, I think. And yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. I have to do my Start 11 show now before I go out tonight. And the Stephen Kenny, Nathan Collins press conference will go out 11 p.m. this evening. And we have our opposition preview. So there's plenty of content to keep you in the know till tomorrow, till the game. They're all going out on podcasts except for the press conferences, so if you want to go back and listen to them, if you haven't time to watch them, you can listen to them. So yeah, Paul, enjoy the game. I'll see you at some stage tomorrow, I'm sure. Thanks for your time, and enjoy your weekend.
See you there, lads. Thanks, Paul.
Nice one.